Hey guys, welcome back to this YouTube channel. If it's your first time tuning in, my name is Salvador Brigman and I run the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast and also crowdcrux.com, which is a blog I started a long time ago that talks about crowdfunding, talks about Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and really how to market a new product online. And today's YouTube video is really going to be focused on PR. So if you've never ever gotten PR attention, you've never gotten a media hit, you've never had a reporter write about you or gotten in a media publication or even a blog, I think this is going to be helpful, just sort of solidifying how PR works and also some of the hacks that you can use to get into the news media. And the first thing that I want to say here is that there are, in my mind, two ways that I segment PR. The first way is a PR agency. And basically a PR agency is sort of a very fancy term, but basically their job is to sell your media story on your behalf. They're basically emailing reporters, they're contacting reporters on various social media networks, they're leveraging their own connections that they've built up in an industry, maybe a specific industry or maybe just as a whole, and they're trying to get these reporters to write about you. They're pitching the merits of your story and why it is that your story is something that they should be paying attention to. And you can actually do this yourself. Like, you don't need a PR agency to sell the story on your behalf. You can do this also. It just takes a little bit more work. If you do plan, you don't have the budget to hire a PR agency, which I'm sorry to say actually does cost quite a bit. There are a few things you can do. First of all, identify what it is about your story that stands out, and also the media publications that are going to be most interested, that have written about similar products, similar stories, that cover your industry. These are really easy ways to just start to segment who you're going to target. And I think the biggest misconception here is that a journalist or a reporter can write about any topic they want. And that's not true. Like, I wish on my blog, I wished I could write about any topic I want, but I can't. I have to write with an audience in mind. And a reporter also has to do that. They're not just like coming up with story ideas, they have an audience that they have to serve. They are in the business of getting traffic to their website and monetizing that traffic with advertising. So then naturally they have to write about things that people are curious about, want to know about, or are interested in. Otherwise, they're not going to get any traffic, they're not going to get any advertising revenue. And that's a very, very big distinction, because as you are approaching these reporters, you have to keep in mind that it's your job to convince them that this story is going to get them traffic, that this story in some way is already being talked about online, or that this story has merit. You know, it's genuinely newsworthy, improving that. Or in some way it evokes an emotion. It has controversy around it. It has an emotion of excitement. It's cool, it's new, it's innovative. Or even just it makes people smile, and it's an inspirational story. It's your job, or the PR agency's job, to sell that story to the journalist or the reporter. And I will say one other thing here. So when you do have an audience in mind, it's also, I think, very, very important to be cognizant of the fact that not every blogger writes about the same topic. Like, I myself, I do not write about news usually. I cover tips, I cover advice. So I have people on my blog or on my podcast who can provide advice based on running their Kickstarter campaign, their Indiegogo campaign, you know, the things they've learned. Whereas another blogger might actually just cover news, and another blogger might not decide to write about like a news announcement for your product, but they might include you in an article that says like the top 10 ideas to purchase for Christmas, you know, this upcoming Christmas. So you need to understand the type of post also that you can fit in for that particular blogger. And I know this sounds like a little bit different, but just to sort of hammer this home before I get into the next point, if I started talking about, say, where I grew up, I grew up in Westford, Massachusetts, like a very small suburban town in Massachusetts. I loved it there, but I had to get out. I went to college in Washington, D.C. I learned so much when I was in D.C. I have a passion for psychology. I have a passion for computer science, for writing especially. My favorite book is the last one I read is actually really good, which I'll mention actually later. But before that, I'd say I love Benjamin Franklin's autobiography. I think he's like a phenomenal man. He was a polymath. Well, if I kept going on, you would start to tune out because what I'm saying is not relevant to your life. And you're gonna listen a little bit because I'm built a relationship with you and I provided good advice and you wanna know me a little bit. But if I was to just drone on about myself, you would tune out. And think of that in the same way. A lot of people are just wanting to talk about their product and wanting to talk about their company and wanting to talk about their Kickstarter campaign or their Indiegogo campaign. And how amazing is this? It's so cool. You have to check it out. Will you write about me? They're not coming from an understanding perspective first of what that influencer or what that reporter is the message they're trying to send to their audience. You have to come from that angle and then fit yourself into their message. So there's the audience, there's the journalist, and you, the savvy marketer, has to somehow find a way, an angle to fit yourself in the middle of that process. And that brings me to the second type of PR here, and that is press releases. Press releases are basically, you're sending out your story, which is optimized to a network. And journalists can pick that up, they can call you, they can ask for quotes or comments if they're interested in writing about you, or they can just decide they want to write about it and they'll write about it. And press releases still are relevant no matter what anyone tells you. I've still gotten media hits with press releases, although you have to send out a bulk sum in order to get a result. That's also true of reaching out and emailing reporters. So press releases I think are still a very important part of any PR strategy, but you just have to keep in mind you need a well-written press release, a very well thought out story, and a great headline that's gonna attract people's attention. And I'll include a link in this video to a few different press release websites that you can check out. I think there are free and also paid ones that I've included in my blog post, so you can go and check that out if you're interested in submitting a press release. The last thing I want to close out here, and again, this is sort of a primer of how I think about PR and how, for me at least, PR has worked. The last thing I want to mention here, if you have never read the book, Trust Me, I Am Lying. Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday. Go and check that out. I'll include a link in the description of this video. Go and check out that book. This book basically covers how the media industry works, and it resonates very well with what I've experienced with my own blog and with the media industry. But it talks about how you can game reporters into writing about you. There are lots of sites that you can use for this, and it's also coming from the perspective of not only is a reporter trying to deliver a story, but they're trying to get traffic. And what actually drives traffic to websites. For a website like mine, it might be more informational based or SEO, more how to do X, Y, and Z. But for most blogs out there, it's entertainment related. This story evokes an emotion. It evokes surprise because it's genuinely newsworthy. It evokes anger and outrage, and I just need to comment on that. It evokes controversy. Controversy piques anyone's interest because you want to know what everyone's fighting about. If you ever pass by a fight in the street, just like a verbal fight, everyone's turning their head and looking because they want to find out what's happening. Or even if there's a commotion with police officers on the street, everyone turns their head because they want to see what's happening. So whenever there's controversy or activity in that form, there's always going to be media stories about that. And also leveraging the fact that smaller blogs are writing about you. That's another technique he talks about in the book that I myself have talked about also. and that I've certainly witnessed this as well. But leveraging those initial media hits into the story that everyone is writing about you, that you're blowing up, that people are talking about you. Because when other people are talking about you, that journalist is more comfortable writing about you because there's a built-in audience. They've identified that people do want to read this type of story, so there's a built-in audience there should they write about it. And that's the thing I'm closing with here is make it dead simple. Make it really easy in a journalist's mind to say, yeah, that's a no-brainer. I'm gonna write about this product, or I'm gonna write about this story. And look, they even have a press release here with it's already all lined out, my points. I don't even have to do very much work. They have great images. They've actually put together a great story angle here for me to just copy here. You know what, I'm just gonna bang this out, and then I'm gonna go surf Facebook for the rest of my 3 hours here at work and take a break. You wanna make it dead simple for those journalists and media publications to write about you. And that's what I'm closing out with here. So thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Come subscribe to this YouTube channel so you'll get more content notifications when I come out with more stuff. And finally, if you do have any questions or you have any feedback on any particular points, you'd like to learn more, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll get to that as soon as possible. But again, my name is Salvador Brigman. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next time.